I was watching Peppa Pig recently, and I was just amazed how many mistakes there are. Yeah, I can understand it's okay to make mistakes, but the Peppa Pig animators are mistaken in almost every frame. Anyway, I hope you enjoy how I review this cartoon. I'm going to start with an episode called
Lunch.
Hello, my little ones. Would you like to pick some
Grandpa Pig.
from the garden for lunch?
Notice George standing right on the border of the vegetable garden and the grass.
What's this? A dinosaur? Ho, 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 ho.
George got a little embarrassed, so he took a few steps away from his grandfather.
This is Grandpa Pig's vegetable garden. He has grown all these vegetables himself.
Lovely fresh tomatoes.
Spaghetti, onions, and fruit.
This portion looks like a small snack for an adult pig, and they got this for 4 adults and 2 kids. And actually, that's not even what worries me. How is it possible that an adult Daddy Pig ate as much as little George, and then they all got full? I'm pretty sure that even if Daddy Pig baked and ate George filled with that food, he wouldn't get full. I also want to point out this moment where Peppa seems to be sliding towards George. And this moment where Daddy Pig and Grandpa Pig are sliding, except they're doing it on chairs.
Can you call everyone to lunch?
Doesn't anything about this frame bother you? There's no one sitting behind those 2 plates.
And here's some salad, made with Grandpa's tomatoes, lettuce and cucumber.
I'd have the same reaction as George because a tomato cut in half, a piece of cucumber and a lettuce leaf is not a salad. It doesn't even have any kind of dressing.
What's that?
Peppa's fork is gone from the table, so how is she supposed to eat salad? I hope she doesn't get a fork off the floor or something. Well, it looks like she got that fork out of her pocket. But there's a unique mistake in this scene that only the most observant will notice. The tomato has a round shadow on top of it, not under it. And here Peppa has pierced her lip with a fork. It looks more painful than biting your tongue.
George does not like the tomatoes.
George doesn't like tomatoes? Then where did he put the second piece of tomato that was in his plate?
Grandpa Pig grew it in his garden.
Try a piece of lettuce, George.
Now it's a dinosaur.
Grandpa Pig has an interesting idea, but why did he turn the dinosaur upside down in relation to George? To show it off to me? Wait, if you've watched this far, please like and subscribe.
Daddy puts up a picture.
This is the building. New picture of Peppa and George.
Look closer. Daddy Pig is reading a newspaper in which the animators have schematized the text. George is watching comic books, I guess, but it looks a lot like a cosmetic palette. Anyway, the animators labeled the pictures with these squares, and Peppa's reading the alphabet, but the animators haven't labeled anything. They're just blank pages. You either have to put text everywhere or nowhere.
We should put this lovely new picture on the wall and on the wall and on.
Leave it to me.
Again, Daddy Pig put the thing somewhere in his inventory, because in this scene, the newspaper is missing.
I need a tape measure.
The toolbox is right in front of the edge of the couch.
And a pencil.
But why did he reach forward if the box is behind him? Maybe the general layout will make it clear that he picked up this pencil from the floor because the tool bag had moved further away.
Now I need a hammer.
Look, now you can see 5 nail heads.
And a nail.
Now there are 4. But in the next scene, there are 5 again.
Stand back, children.
The painting that was hanging to the upper left of the couch is gone.
Don't break the wall, Daddy.
Don't be silly, Peppa. Easy as pie. I'll just take the nail out and fill in the crack.
But what's stopping him from filling the crack without sticking a nail out?
It's coming out. Whoa! I'm Batman.
I wonder how this house holds up under its own weight if all it takes is a little nail pull to get 10 bricks out of the wall at once. It's like the bricks aren't even cemented together. Well, they are. Just look at it. And look at what a perfect hole and what a perfect piece Daddy Pig pulled out. Then why are there these little chips of brick on the floor? I don't even know what to say here. Instead of using the chunk he broke out, he dragged 17 bricks into the living room, even though it only takes 10 bricks to fill that hole. I'm not sure if this is a mistake. Maybe the writers wanted to show that Daddy Pig is stupid and doesn't know basic math. Now Daddy Pig is going to show us the wonders of physics in spreading plaster on the wall, which spreads even where he doesn't run the trowel.
Easy as pie.
Wait, the real miracles of physics is that the plaster spreads even across the floor. The paint lays down under the brush. It's animated well, not like with plaster. Here I want to express respect to the animators for this, and also respect Daddy Pig for marksmanship. Not a single drop of paint got on the floor or the sofa, just on the kids and him.
Daddy Pig tidies up the...
Interesting fact, Daddy Pig took a nail out of that piece of bricks and put it back in, according to the fact that there are 5 nails again. He is very economical. And another interesting fact, George said something other than dinosaur.
Mummy! Oh, Mummy!
Hello.
Hello.
I thought you were going to put the picture up. Well, I'm no expert, but I'm sure it's quite easy.
Mummy Pig is an amazing character. She always carries a hammer and a nail with her because there is no tool bag nearby.
Musical instruments.
Found this old box in the attic.
Ooh.
It's full of music.
Look, this horn just can't fit in the box. It's too tall. The animators made this box bottomless, but the tools still don't fit in there. They stick out so much that the lid of the box can't close.
Full of musical instruments.
Now they've made the horn smaller just so he can hold it in his hands. In the future, it will be enlarged again.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
Achoo!
The animators don't embarrass themselves doing this. They resize objects right in front of us. Look at the previous frame. You can see that the horn doesn't fit in the box. And what do the animators do in the next frame to fit it in the box? They enlarge it. Daddy Pig is standing right in front of the chair. And now, well, you can see for yourself.
Can I try?
Am I the only one who gets the urge to tell Peppa to cough and expectorate before speaking? Maybe even blow a nose because it's hard to listen to.
Mummy, please play it.
I hope I haven't forgotten how.
Yay!
Daddy Pig's arm starts growing out of his head for a couple frames. Now it's Mom's turn to stand in front of the chair and disappear accordingly.
Drum.
Thank you, Daddy.
Did she glue a drum to her stomach? How's it holding up? And why does the shadow of that drum fall separately from Peppa's shadow? It's like the drum is levitating in front of her. Well, that's not really important, because later on, the drum will lose its shadow altogether.
I remember this tune.
Now, just for moving the angle below Mummy Pig, she's gone. This chair is cursed.
The accordion is quite difficult.
George, the accordion.
Accordion.
The accordion.
Accordion.
Electricity.
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 It's just nonsense. I'm not talking about the fact that George's lungs are 30 times smaller than that horn, and not that the TV that was standing there with the fish is missing. I'm talking about the writers breaking their own conventions. Here's an excerpt from another episode.
George is trying really hard.
It shows that George can't even blow a bubble, so he wouldn't be able to play the horn. You say, well, it's a children's cartoon. It's just a comedy, but, I'm just a comedy too. Wow, George is holding a huge horn that weighs more than he does and in that position. His powers in this episode are beyond anything imaginable.
Cleaning the car.
They forgot to close the door. It's interesting, because in other episodes, the doors close by themselves. I think this scene is even more realistic than the others.
Daddy Pig.
You should see how messy it is inside.
Naughty, messy Daddy.
Daddy Pig has some warm, soapy water.
Yeah, that faucet came out of nowhere. But it's interesting that the narrator said it was warm water. Even though it's cold, there's a blue color on the valve, and they were cooling with that water when it was a hot day in another episode. Look, now he is reaching into the bucket for a sponge. How many sponges do you think he put in there?
Daddy.
1?
Mummy Pig.
How about 2? Wait, 4 sponges? Okay, maybe 2. They could have passed sponges to each other. But anyway, they have a few clean sponges.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
George dropped a sponge in a puddle that wasn't in the previous scene. Will they pick up another sponge that is clean? There is a puddle but no bucket. In the next frame, there's a bucket but no puddle.
Never mind. We can use you and George instead of sponges.
Yes, yes.
That's it. That's the maximum distance the hose can go. It certainly can't go that far.
Where's the water?
They've used the same joke in 2 different episodes. Apparently, it's very funny, but they had to sacrifice Peppa's memory, who forgot how the hose works. They almost perfectly replicated the animation. But what's interesting is they didn't redub that scene. It's the same sound. Listen for yourself.
Where's the water? Where's the water? Where's the water?
Daddy Pig, please turn off the water.
Oh! No!
Daddy Pig is polishing the car so well he can see his face in it.
The reflection distortion depends on the unevenness of the car's surface. It's probably dented, or the animators use the simplest effect to create the distortion. Even I can apply it. Does this look like the level of a studio with hundreds of thousands of dollars at its disposal? There's George reflected all over and to Peppa's left.
What a lovely, shiny car.
Now he only has his head reflected and he's to Peppa's right. And there's another mistake. You have to be a 5th grader to notice it, or just have a mirror at home. When Daddy Pig walks to the right, the reflection moves to the left. It's supposed to move right next to him.
The Tooth Fairy.
George spent 7 whole seconds chewing on a single pasta, so thoroughly that I got hungry.
Peppa and George are having their favorite food.
Oh, that's an almost imperceptible mistake. The animators left a micro bite of George's tongue. But I wanted to point out that while George has to move his fork to suck the spaghetti, Peppa does it without even holding the fork.
Don't drink your juice.
What was that sound? Although it sounds more like a pig grunting than that.
What's that?
Look at the edge of the table. There's nothing there.
Peppa, maybe you should look in the mirror.
Now there's Mummy Pig spaghetti.
Oh.
Why does her hand look like a Lego man's hand?
And what would you like to be when you grow up, George?
Dinosaur. It's bedtime.
Wait, this is getting crazy. The animators change the basement however they want. In this episode, there's no basement door at all. But in this episode, there is. And in this episode, there's a storage room.
Peppa and George brush their teeth.
Look at that heart teleportation on her clothes. By the way, in this scene, there's no sink behind them.
What are you doing?
Now there's a sink behind them.
Peppa cannot wait to get into bed.
They go to bed very early. Maybe they have such a pace of life that they go to bed at 7 p.m. and wake up at 8 a.m., so they sleep for 11 hours. But why does the night start at 7 p.m.? It's already dark there.
Let's both stay awake all night. Can you hear something?
What's interesting to me in this frame is not even what she's holding on to, but where her hands are growing from. Or even where her sleeves are sewn on. Hours passed. The sun came up, but the clouds didn't even move. Besides, where's that rooster sound coming from? They don't have a coop near the house. Only Grandpa Pig has a coop near the house.
Peppa, you pissed yourself in your sleep.
What? I wasn't asleep.
Did the Tooth Fairy come?
George sat right next to Peppa.
No.
Now George is gone. Where did he put that pillow? Just where? Why is everyone surprised by the Tooth Fairy coming while they were sleeping, but not surprised by what's happening in front of their eyes? It couldn't fit in the pocket. Maybe he's skinny, but he just hides pillows under his clothes.
Daddy Pig is wearing his swim.
Very hot day. Puddles. Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
The puddles always went away when they dried. This is the first and last time we're ever shown a dried puddle.
And Daddy Pig is wearing his swimming costume. Daddy Pig is wearing his swimming costume. Oh dear. Daddy Pig is so hot.
Daddy Pig does look hot. So hot, you need sun cream.
Where'd she get that cream? I understand when they get stuff out of their pockets like that, but she's wearing a swimsuit.
Stop it. Get some help.
Mummy Pig isn't applying sunscreen properly. She only covered her chin and cheeks with it, even though they still have ears, nose, and body. Although it's unlikely to make them bad, because pigs are protected from the sun by a thin layer of fur, they don't need this cream. That faucet wasn't there at the beginning of the episode. And this is the maximum it can stretch to. It clearly can't reach the pool.
Ice cream!
Driving up hills in the heat when the houses are very far apart and calling to buy ice cream is a terrible business. I think it will leave her broke, in debt, and she'll have to work multiple jobs. That makes sense.
Dinosaur.
This ice cream is the size of half of George's stomach. I'm sure if he eats it, he'll get frostbite. And Mummy Pig is rushing him to eat it before it melts. And it melts in 20 seconds. I think Mummy Pig should be more vigilant about her children's nutrition. And while his ice cream has become a puddle, the other ice creams haven't even melted.
You can share Daddy's ice cream.
What do you think will happen to that stick when George takes the ice cream? Next, you can see that they all ate their ice cream as they walked back down to the pool. Remember that.
Good idea, Peppa.
Look at how much water there was before they splashed it into Daddy Pig. And how much after. It doesn't look any different to me. But they poured so much water that puddles formed.
What? I wasn't asleep. Look, the puddles are back.
What happened to the pool they put in front of Daddy Pig?
Peppa and George are wearing their boots.
That's the ice cream George ate. Even if George hadn't eaten it, it would have melted by now.
Toy cupboard.
Quickly, put the toys away in your toy basket.
Parents have been buying them toys all this time and didn't notice they were stored on the beds? And didn't notice the toy basket was full? And by the way, that's Susie's toy.
The toy basket is full.
Oh, so it is.
Let's buy a new toy cupboard.
Hooray!
Why is she looking backwards? It's like there's a director standing behind her and making her act out the joy.
Mummy Pig is used
To open the app, you have to use the mouse instead of the keyboard. Well, maybe they do the clicking on the keyboard. Then how did she move the cursor between frames? The cursor has not only changed location, but also size, and even got a stroke. All right, the cursor is pointing at the arrow, so she changes pages by pressing the keyboard.
toy cupboard.
Aha!
But in the next frame, the cursor has changed its position. Now it is not on the arrow, and Mummy Pig has to move it to the arrow.
Which one shall we get?
Now there's no cursor at all, and the image on the computer has changed a little bit.
Please?
That looks...
Ridiculous.
The cursor is back. What's going on? This reminds me of a scene from another episode. But now the sun's coming up from the other side. What's it doing on the right side? For the rest of the series, it's been rising from the left. And that door slot for the mail? It was never there. But maybe they just added it so that later in the episode a letter would go in it? They didn't even add that slot further into the episode. And wait, Mr. Zebra just opened the door to someone else's apartment without keys? And if no one was home, he would just stand there and leave? That doesn't feel right to me.
That's strange.
It's really strange. The legs moved and one of them went under the board in 2 seconds.
Can we help?
Yes!
It's weird that such thin boards hold up without falling, but even weirder is how shadows form here. When she places the first board, the shadow of the board falls only to the left. But when she places the second board, the shadow of the board only falls to the right. That's impossible.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid?
First, I need a shelf.
One, two,
Her arm grows out of her chin.
three.
Her arms are stretched out unnaturally. Although it looks like they all have slightly rubbery arms, so I don't think it's a mistake.
Here's a red door, Mummy Pig.
This door has a handle on the left side. You can change the position of the handle if you flip the door over, but that would mess up the heart pattern, so it can only be on the left.
There! Finished.
And now the mail slot is back again. But it's not used in any way in the episode. I don't know why they added it. In general, the whole episode looks pretty cursed. Interestingly, this episode is not available separately in good quality on YouTube. Hasbro only publishes it as part of compilations.
It's the missing instructions. It's nonsense.
How can you not understand the simplest instructions?
I do the hard bit, planning it all.
Daddy Pig works as an engineer. He did the complicated blueprints. Actually, the fact that the sun rises on the other side, the fact that the cupboard they put together is no longer on the show, and Daddy Pig's skills can be explained by the multiverse. And that's just one of the many universes. What do you think about that? To be fair, the instructions are really strange. It says you need to use a hammer. even though it shows bolts and screws that can be screwed in with a screwdriver. You can't do it with a hammer.
Not very well.
Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig have just made breakfast.
When Daddy Pig pours milk into a bowl, the level of liquid in the jug does not change in any way. The milk in the jug is not subject to gravity.
Just for Peppa and George.
Everything is very conveniently laid out for breakfast. There's a plate with a spoon by each place. I'm sure when Peppa and George come to breakfast, they'll, While Peppa and George were coming down, the parents put their plates in the middle of the table and hid George's spoon.
I don't feel very well.
Don't worry, I'll ring Dr. Brown Bear.
I think he's calling someone else. Because here's a clip from another episode.
I'll ring Dr. Brown Bear.
He's pushing other buttons. Although it's possible Dr. Brown Bear changed the phone number. At first, the wire is attached to one edge of the phone, but in the next frame, it's attached to the other edge.
Hello.
Hello!
Look, he's lower than Peppa now, but in the next frame, he's higher than Peppa. Somehow, he's grown 30 centimeters.
Peppa.
What was that sound he made with his mouth closed?
But if you like, I can give you just a little medicine.
I wouldn't say it's little. Like, it's bigger than your briefcase. How did you even bring that in?
I'm afraid it does.
He's holding the spoon really weird. I mean, compared to the way pigs hold forks. And by the way, it's a regular metal spoon. It looks normal, unlike Peppa's spoons. Why are they black? What kind of material are they made of?
Open wide, please.
Yeah. Lovely.
Dr. Brown Bear says that you must stay in bed for a little bit, Peppa. I'll ring Susie Sheep's mummy.
And again, when she picks up the phone, the wire is sticking out one side, but when she lifts it up a little bit, it's sticking out the other side.
Thank you, Susie.
I love that scene. The animators had their entire budget spent on animating Peppa sucking down orange juice, so nothing in this frame moves except the juice. And now, the bear comes in again. According to the clock, it's only been 5 hours since his last visit. I don't know what changes he's expecting to see.
The nurse is already here. How is the patient?
Your mouth stinks. Don't come near me like that.
I am so lonely. No one talks to me. No one wants to be my friend.
Anyway, he brought a briefcase full of medicine, but when Daddy Pig brought the ball, he lost the briefcase. But at least Susie has one.
Who wants to join me?
Me.
Now everyone's out of briefcases.